Good afternoon, attendees. Welcome. We'll get started here in just a minute. We're going to let everyone load into the room. This is a pretty quick 30-minute webinar, so it won't take too much of your lunch time, but very informative. So that's why we want everyone to be present. If you guys can hear me, go ahead and raise your hand and just give me a little sound check that you can hear okay. Perfect, thank you. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. Welcome to today's CalChiro webinar, Anthem's Recoupment Practices Update and Ask the Experts. Should you have any questions for the speakers, please type them into the Q&A feature and they will be answered at the end of the webinar. Now, I would like to introduce our speakers of today's webinar, Dr. Tracy Cole and Dr. Lloyd Friesen. Dr. Tracy Cole is a CalChiro past president and is currently the chair of the CalChiro Managed Care and Insurance Committee, and is the Medicare and Medi-Cal expert and Noridian representative. He has been a member of CalChiro and in practice for 31 years and is in private practice way up north in Crescent City, California. Dr. Lloyd Friesen is a 54-year member of CalChiro and a 52-year licensed doctor of chiropractic, graduating from LACC in 1970 and practiced for 31 years. During that time, Dr. Friesen held most committee chair positions, executive committee member, and was the 1983-84 president of CalChiro. Dr. Friesen served on the Board of Chiropractic Examiners and the Medical Quality Review Committee of the Medical Board of California and chair of that committee for 8 years. Following retirement from clinical practice, Dr. Friesen was hired by the American Specialty Health as Vice President of Public Affairs, managing the legislative activities in all 50 states and federal issues. Following retirement from ASH in 2014, Dr. Friesen serves on 2 nonprofit board of directors, including president of the Santa Barbara Navy League Council in 2016-17, and currently he is the director focusing on insurance for the CalChiro Board of Directors and the chair of the GA committee. Both Dr. Cole and Friesen are CalChiro fellows, and so I'd like to welcome them both here today, and thank you so much for being here. And I will get the PowerPoint up.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of CalChiro, Tracy, myself, and all the staff at CalChiro, thank you for attending today. As Kaylee said, this is a 30-minute quick overview of recoupment efforts on behalf of Anthem towards members of the profession and certainly CalChiro members. And Tracy and I thought it'd be appropriate at this point to actually meet, if I can use the term, face-to-face, rather than continuing communication efforts in the weekly adjustment, to give you an overview and update you on the recoupment issue and what efforts we have done to date. And we are going to definitely call on you folks to assist us in further efforts to see how we can discontinue the recoupment efforts by Anthem. Kaylee, go to the next slide, please. I think that some of you have, and I guess I would say that the response to our outreach has not been particularly effective. In other words, in terms of numbers of providers sending us information. And again, that was another reason for having this particular meeting here today. Next slide. The issue is that Anthem is requesting from doctors of chiropractic return of incorrect Anthem payment without any appropriate rationale. And it doesn't matter whether you're a participating provider or a non-participating provider with Anthem. But the frustration is that Anthem, the provider services agreement, for those who participate with Anthem, it allows recoupment of payment for any reason. And the provider must be notified within 30 days of the date of service or receipt of the claim, which is a DMHC requirement, which stands for the Department of Managed Healthcare here in California. And obviously that's kind of caused a train wreck with respect to our thinking that these were just arbitrary and capricious requests for recoupment. But obviously they have the ability based on the contract that some of you have signed. And this is again a DMHC requirement. So virtually any health plan that you're a contractor provider probably has this language. Next slide, please. So what products are affected? There's two products. One is the commercial product, which are the Knox-Keene licensed health plans, which is regulated by the Department of Managed Care, and Medicare Advantage products, which are overseen by CMS. And again, it is not limited to contracted providers, but also non-contracted or non-participating providers in a contracted manner. Okay, next slide, please. So Anthem commercial products, and I should say at this point that we've had 3 meetings with Anthem representatives, and I think Tracy and I both are of the opinion that we have done our due diligence with respect to outreach and arguing our point and advocating for our point, but it just has not gotten anywhere. And we also have in fact reached out to DMHC and had several meetings with them. And but again, the frustration is that we don't feel, particularly on the commercial side, that we necessarily have enough providers, frankly 6, who have submitted information to us that will bolster our advocacy efforts. So on the slide before you is if you are a contractor provider, you can email Provider Experience Associate, and they will assist you in the issue with respect to the recoupment and any appeals that you want to, which you're going to actually frankly have to submit to the health plan, and we'll go through that in another slide. If you're a non-contractor provider, if you choose to, you can contact Anthem at the phone number that's listed there, or you can go directly to the DMHC and file a complaint. Next slide, please. On the Anthem Medicare Advantage product, what we found was, and again, unfortunately, many providers that submitted information to us, these were actually Medicare Advantage claims and would not be adjudicated or looked at by the DMHC because that's a Medicare issue. But what we found also is that many of those claims that were submitted to us for review to utilize as documents did not have the AT modifier. And Anthem's provider guidebook for the Medicare Advantage is that information there on the screen. Tracy, I don't know if you want to say anything yet about the Medicare Advantage products.
No, you're covering pretty much all of the issues that we've seen. There just seems to be a misunderstanding amongst, not everyone, but many in the profession, that you don't need to use the AT modifier when you bill Medicare Advantage, and that is not true. You have to follow all regular Medicare billing guidelines when you bill even Medicare Advantage plans.
Okay, next slide, Kaylee, please. So here's the modifier usage, and again, I'll give you some information here, and Tracy's the expert in the modifier area, but related to the GP code, that this is according to Anthem now. This was effective on April 1st of 2021. And in the instance, as Tracy just mentioned, in the Medicare Advantage program, or even in the Medicare fee-for-service product, you have to use the appropriate modifier, as Tracy has already mentioned. And again, it's whether you're a contracted or non-contracted provider with Medicare or whatever company is managing a Medicare Advantage product. But obviously, this is just the discussion related to Anthem today. Next slide. So these are two forms that Anthem provided for us. And again, I think that these are available through the weekly adjustment, which you folks get through your email service. And they are the forms necessary to submit an appeal of the decision made by Anthem as it relates specifically to recoupment, but you can use these forms for other reasons as well if you're filing a complaint or an appeal to Anthem. Next slide. So let me fill in a couple more blanks. What is required is that if you are a contractor provider specifically, it's necessary for you to submit and proceed through the appeals process with that health plan. And again, in this instance, Anthem specifically. And that again is a DMHC requirement. Once the appeals process has run its full course, it's that time that you can appeal, that you can file a complaint with the DMHC for relief based on the fact that, as again, a contractor provider, you've gone through that process. And again, that's been part of the frustration, is that of the 6 providers that submitted information on the commercial side, they had not gone through that process. And therefore, DMHC told us that they would not review those claims or take any action on it until the provider had submitted proof that they had submitted the appropriate appeals to Anthem. And if they've had all the levels of rejected, that they would then in turn look at the information. So what we're looking for from you folks is information to be as specific as possible. And it's not to say that you can't do this on your own, but with the contacts that Tracy and I have been able to gather over this year plus time, is that we think we have a little better opportunity to make an impact than yourselves individually. But I'll leave that up to y'all as to whether you want to do it individually or, again, with the CCA gathering all of those documents and submitting them as a package. But this goes through, again, the type of levels of activity that you have to do prior to submitting the information. Let's go to the next slide. I'm fearful there's a slide missing. Yeah, there is. Go back, please. Go one more. I think we skipped a slide. One more. Huh. Okay, well, unfortunately there's a slide missing. We had an ad. Let me go back to the Medicare issue, which is the slide that's missing. We've been able to make contact with CMS, the Region 9 administrator. Oh, there, yeah, no, that's not it either. Anyway, we've made inroads with CMS through Region 9 administrator, and we have some specific addresses that you can submit those claims for CMS or Medicare Advantage recoupment efforts. And we've been very, very successful on that front. We've had 21 providers total is we've had 27 providers out of 1,000 plus members of CCA submit information to us. And we don't think that that demonstrates necessarily a pattern of abuse or going outside the requirements of the DMHC. So we need more information and more documents from you folks to justify going to the DMHC with a package of information. But it was, as it relates again to the Medicare issue, we have had very good success with 21 providers receiving recoupment payment that was done in error. And so again, we will announce that in the next TWA to make sure that you have that address. And I apologize for the slide being dropped off for some reason.
Lloyd,
Yes.
do you want me to pull, it's in one of the last TWAs, right? I can pull up that for you if that's helpful.
Yes.
If you could do that, that'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.
Is there any other slides you want to show here, or can I get out of this?
You can get out of it.
Okay, give me a second and I can pull that up. So if you just want to keep talking, so.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, we have a couple of questions and a couple of comments. DMHC does not have authority on self-funded. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. We're talking about the specific instances where DMHC does have jurisdiction here.
Yeah. And similarly, on the Medicare side, they toss those back to us because they don't have jurisdiction in that space. There's a comment, Tracy, what is modifier -59? I'll let you manage that.
Is that, I'm assuming, just wants a definition. Modifier 59 indicates a separate, distinct procedural service. There are X modifiers that can be used, and it can, in cases, should be used to be more even more specific than the modifier 59. But with many plans, like VA, for instance, you add the GP to the modifier 59 when you're billing therapies, things like that.
Is this what you're talking about right here?
Yes, there's the address down below.
Yeah. Or you can email to that email there, and they're pretty responsive. I mean, frankly, more so than Anthem. I will tell you that I sent an email to the commander. He actually is a commander for CMS Region 9, and I had a response within 12 hours. And then he gave me a team that does these activities specifically. And I've been in contact with this one individual representative at Anthem in the Medicare Advantage space. And again, been very, very responsive to the information that we forwarded to them. And in fact, apparently there was as I understand it, there was a claims logic error in their system, which was rectified. And frankly, I've not, in the last month, I believe, received any recoupment issues as it relates to Medicare Advantage. So I'm hoping we've got that issue resolved. If not, there are the addresses that you can submit. And then also, if you want to outreach to CalChiro, send your information to Don, as we had on that prior slide, and we'll look at that information.
Let me answer that next question on there, on the Q&A. It says, do we need to send claims directly to CMS after Blue Cross took the money away and ignores all of our appeals? You would not send the claim directly to CMS. However, you would send the denial letters and recoupment letters you would be getting. Either send them or email them to that address we just showed. But the claims themselves, if it's a Medicare Advantage, still go to Anthem or Blue Cross.
Right.
Yeah,
And
CMS, as Lloyd was just saying, has been very receptive and helpful in these kind of problems.
And again, remember, Tracy said, I'll emphasize it, you have to use the appropriate modifiers. Like I say, when we looked at the claims, those were the majority of the issues in the Medicare Advantage space. And once those were seen and rectified, CMS was again very responsive to re-adjudicate those claims.
But what we're also saying is that based on those same histories, we're not saying you're, dead in the water without the AT modifier, because a lot of those claims also were well past the deadline for recoupment. And obviously CMS agreed with our position, and in many cases helped the providers out by getting that money back to them.
Right. Now, one of the things on the ask here, and again, for Tracy and I as volunteers, a little frustrating sometimes because we weren't able to really identify some of the issue. For example, particularly when the recoupment was taken from another patient. In other words, you took care of patient A and there was a recoupment request on patient A. You did not respond. And so on patient B, they took the recoupment amount. Clearly that's illegal. And some people wrote on their notes that that's what happened. But Tracy and I, frankly, couldn't figure out really if that in fact happened. Not that we're doubting you, but we needed to be very clear that that in fact did happen so that we could make the argument to DMHC. And I guess I would tell you at this point, speaking for myself, you never say never, but I'm not necessarily interested in dealing with Anthem any longer. I think that we get the information available and we go directly to DMHC. That's a personal comment.
Yes, because I think the vast majority of what we've been seeing from our CalChiro members are non-participating providers with Anthem. There's been there's been a few that have been contracted with Anthem, but most aren't. And as we've said, there are specific steps you have to take depending on your participation or non-participation status. And I know it can be confusing. We both agree it's confusing.
Yeah.
But we're here to help if you are unsure, and hopefully we've given you at least some information to steer you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have about 9 minutes. There are no more slides available. So that any further questions that folks have, if we need to give you back a couple of minutes of your day, we're willing to do that, but we're here till 12:30. So again, if there's any questions, I will respond to Kay about the scenery of the presenters. I can't speak for Tracy, so I don't know if that's his office, the back room in his office or not. I will just say that this is my backyard, so that's the scene from my backyard that you see. So thanks for the shout out.
This is Redwood Forest, maybe 5 miles away from my office.
Very nice. Well, we have a question that we should go through the appeals process. That's pretty much on the forms that we showed you. You complete those forms, and with the appropriate identification information regarding the patient, redacting some of the personal health information, but certainly the member and the group number and the plan information is important for whatever insurance company, and including CMS and Anthem as you're doing. So the relate to you'll see here. Kaylee, can you highlight?
Let me know.
Highlight the third bullet, following documents, or no, down. Keep going.
Down here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how you would submit an appeal.
I can click on these documents if that's easier for you to see them.
Oh, I think they're the same documents that we just showed in that slide. Yeah, well, there's a better showing of that. So that's how you would, if you get a recoupment, actually, frankly, whatever the issue is with a health plan, including Anthem, these are the types of forms that each individual company is going to have that you would complete as a contracted practitioner, and submit those. and make sure that if you do obviously keep a copy of it. And I would also say one thing that's important, because we do have a comment made by an Anthem representative to one of our members, something, and so we have that documented. So we're kind of holding that as a hip pocket issue if we go to the DMHC with additional information. I'm not going to release that information here, but just know that we do have an interesting comment made by an Anthem representative to a doctor of chiropractic and a Cal Chiro member. So again, it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, you have to go through this process if you're a contracted provider.
So revisiting the beginning, I believe the first 5 minutes were mostly introductions, weren't they?
They're asking specific, oh, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that you guys talked about.
Yeah, I think Sam, it was just an intro talking about what we were going to discuss today, which is the Anthem recoupment issue. If you have another question, please ask.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive you didn't miss anything of substance.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pull up your slideshow? Is that helpful?
No,
I don't
Okay.
think so.
We have
Any
5
other
minutes.
questions?
Oh,
Yeah.
one just
Oh.
popped up. Oop, 2.
Do you want me to read that to you?
I can see it.
Okay.
What was which one? Dr. Paris first?
Yeah, he came in first.
I'm assuming PDR, provider dispute resolution process. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably a regulatory issue, and that might be
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, that's something we could have some discussion with DMHC. Because I think, and like I say, it's been a while since I've been in practice, but I'm assuming for a moment that I'm sorry, that each company has their own PDR process, but certainly we could do that. And Dave, finally, the legislation, certainly with other provider groups, coalition would be wonderful in that respect.
Yeah, and that, especially with DMHC, that may take another phone call or face-to-face, because as we've spoken to, Anthem says you can only use our dispute resolution process if you're a contracted provider. Well, when you go to DMHC, they say, have you gone to the payer yet? Well, in Anthem's case, they won't let you if you're not contracted. So there's a bit of a vicious loop there that we may have to iron out as well.
Yeah.
Timeline for recoupment, 1 year. And that's assuming you've responded to the, to their request within 30 days. And part of which would be pointing out, that it's been well over a year since this date of service.
Yeah, I think, let me answer Dave's question real quick. Dave, I'm the chair of GA, so I'll forward it on to myself. But I think that, listen, trust me, I understand that these kinds of activities take time, resources, and energy to do that. But frankly, you need to take the time to respond to the health plan, because frankly, the DMHC keeps these types of statistics. Health plans have to submit on an annual basis, and then certainly as they go through the accreditation or continue as a DMHC Knox-Keene licensed health plan, they have to submit all kinds of information related to appeals, number of appeals to the provider community that contract with them. So the more that we can pile on, the better it is. And it opens up a lot of dialogue for other provider groups DMHC, maybe even the legislature. So all these advocacy activities have a linear opportunity here to argue providers' points and how they're disadvantaged by health plans in many instances.
Let me answer Dr. Heller's question.
Oh, didn't even see that.
It came through on the chat.
Oh,
Tracy, can you read it out just so people,
Okay.
'cause this is being recorded, so they won't know what you're answering.
If a patient has a referral from their medical group and the DC has been authorized by the medical group for a certain number of visits, would Anthem still be able to ask for money back for authorized treatment? Assuming it's a Medicare Advantage plan, in this case requiring medical authorization, they could. It just depends on the circumstances and the time frame, but nothing changes as far as the rules and regulations, the need to bill with an AT modifier, all of that. Nothing changes, assuming it's a Medicare Advantage plan. Next paragraph, the Anthem chiropractic care is carved out separate from the funding by the medical group. Is this when Anthem can ask for separate review? It just depends on the structure of the plan. Does it go through ASH, for example? Does it go through an IPA? You know, there's more. I think we would both need to know about that. ASH, I would say that's probably not a correct statement where you put ASH does not require AT modifier for Medicare Advantage plans. I would say that they do. I'm sure Lloyd would concur.
yes. Yeah.
If we need to come up with a reference, but I can guarantee that they do because it's stated in the regulations that Medicare Advantage billing plans are no different. So yes, an AT modifier is required.
You know, and I do want to say, if I didn't, is that Anthem is not in any of the recoupment letters or information requests identified inappropriate treatment or too much treatment, overutilization, and so on. They have not identified any fraud, waste, or abuse. We have it that it's their claims logic that's creating incorrect payment, and so they're asking for the payment back. Now, obviously, we disagree with that, but again, because of the particularly for participating providers, the contract states that Anthem can ask for the recoupment for, quote, any reason. So the hands are kind of tied right now, but we have not yet given up, and we need your assistance with information that you can forward to us based on the slide presentation. And again, we'll reissue the TWA with the same information that Kaylee put up on the screen earlier. So we're about 2 minutes. Okay, last question here. I had a problem. Well, you know what? I will reach out to American Specialty Health and ask the question, and we'll publish it, the answer in the TWA.
Well, that looks like all the questions, and Dr. Ferris said thank you both, very informative. Is there any one last statement you want to say before we sign off this afternoon?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Again, we need more information. We can't go to the DMEC with 6 providers. And like I say, the Medicare Advantage issue, that's doing very well. I think we've got that tamed. For those of you who have sent information, thank you. To coin a phrase, keep those cards and letters coming. We really appreciate your time today, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.